Oh my God. That, you guys should be hearing me now. I'm going to actually turn that down just a little bit. Yeah. Was that a little too much? Fuck me. Okay. My streaming expertise takes over once again. Wow. What a bloody time that's been. All right, guys. How's everybody doing? We got the stream in the background. Let's put up the Bridgecast X. This has been a pain in the ass. A lot of people saying Bridge or Roland makes good products. Yeah, they do. They actually do. That's all I'm going to say about that. Jerker, how's you going, buddy? Fulfilled my wish of looking at the Bridgecast. Yeah, this video is going to be coming out Monday. I'm sorry to everyone who's looking for an amazing reception for this thing. Oh, what do you guys think? Dylan is in chat, by the way. Dylan's going to be moderating, I guess. So watch your P's and Q's. He will kick your ass, I swear to God. User error or product? A little bit of both. There's a couple things that are quirky with this thing, and that's the settings, kind of messing around with the Windows settings. On top of that, it was my fault through Elgato, which I think is actually peaking quite a bit. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit more. Now, let me see. How's that? Is that a little bit? Oh, no, that's... Holy crap. All right, we'll put it to right about there. Bring it up a bit more. Test 1, 2. Perfect. It's wind blows. Yeah, I know. I've been spoiled with Rode. Yeah, God forbid, other companies do like service the customer. And I think I'm going to probably have a bit of a rant on Monday's video, because actually I should be looking into the camera. I'm going to have a little bit of a rant on Monday's video, because the audio portion of this is awesome. And you guys can actually see it on my screen here. Let me move it over a little bit for you. The audio portion of this is fantastic. Routing the stuff, the music, the HDMI audio, all of this stuff has just been fantastic. I don't know if you guys can hear my HDMI. I'm going to turn that down, the HDMI audio. I don't think anything's coming through, but just in case. The routing on here, the output routing, the ability to all of the 4 channels that are on the actual board that I can't lift up because this is what I was trying to show you guys when I started, is I have my GoPro and it's my second HDMI in, and you'll notice when I move over to the GoPro view, all you get is this, which is just my setup of all the stuff on my GoPro. It's using the HDMI as an output. I know for sure that I use this GoPro as an input with this HDMI when I got it, because I bought this cable specifically for the Rodecaster video. I bought this whole GoPro Black for the Rodecaster video. So I'm a little irritated, but you can see the switching time in between. Oh man, that's so bad. That is not a video switcher. That is painful. All right, I'm going to catch up with some of these comments. I like UK's in the house. Rick on mic. Thank you to everybody pointing out the audio sucks, and Dylan messaging me on Facebook. Lestrita, no audio. Thank you. DJ Mike L. Of course, Dylan's in the house. What else we got? Tommy. This will be the TB303 of interfaces. I don't know what that means. What is the TB303? Casualties of being a gear reviewer, installing more drivers on a computer than as bricks. Godspeed, Siren. Yeah, you know what? This PC that I'm doing this on is it cries at night, because this was one of the reasons I got the Mac, no drivers. But this, I don't think I could clearly show this off. I was gonna turn a game on, play a little bit of a game, see how it kind of handles the audio going out, which I thought was a pretty good idea. But I would say doing this on the Mac wouldn't have served this kind of test. So, yeah, could use a shave. I could always use a shave. You're talking about my back hair, right? Yeah. Okay. Plugging and unplugging something, Tommy. No. It was partially Windows. The whenever you plug something in with Windows and you add drivers and you do all that stuff, Windows, there's a lot of kind of handshaking that goes on between the product and your computer system. And part of that handshake process is it's going, okay, where's your outs? Where's your ins? What are you doing? And that's why when you go in, everything's kind of already set up. But the problem is this handshake, when this thing plugged in, had the output going as system output instead of, I had to go in and change that. And then I also screwed up by not having my audio input capture on OBS going out the right way. So it was a little bit of both. Oh wow. Okay. Considering I use the regular Bridgecast, I'm mainly concerned about the audio ADC preamp performance. In your opinion on the software, that's a bit of an enigma with these. Yeah, the audio is fantastic, and the software is bloody fantastic. The funny thing about this, and you can actually see it in this window here when I bring this over, there's really no control here for the video. Even the output you're talking about, this is all like submix mode. You've got the stream mix for USB mode out, line out mode, which is phone sync, stream sync. There is nothing in here for USB video format. So the type of video and HDMI in capability mode, internal 4K. So whether or not you bring an internal 4K through, but there's nothing in here for your camera outside of this, which kind of, I don't know, again, maybe spoiled by Rode with the Rodecaster video software. But this, it's mildly underwhelming. That's the best I'll give you. And I think Tommy has it right there. I'll get to that in a second. I can still feel him, but I can't see him. Aw, yeah, I know Dylan's here. You sound fine to me now that you have sound. Thank you, Poseidon. Tommy, it comes down to Roland being way bigger and thus way more apathetic than brands like Rode. Roland and I don't know if Roland's bigger than Rode. I actually don't think so. Rode's massive. Rode is huge. I remember I saw Valuation Forbes Australia interviewed Peter Friedman. And on that, it listed Rode as $1 billion like business. I don't know if Roland's that big. I do know Roland has the Gigcaster. When I reviewed that, one of the things, I didn't go too hard on the Gigcaster because I knew what they were trying to do. I just didn't think they did it very well. But now after being with this, the best way to describe Roland gear for streaming is soulless. There's no soul in this. Nobody sat down with this, no gamer or no person that would do this kind of work like streaming with this sat down with this and went, you know what? I like how this works. That camera switch with that 5 seconds of blank screen there. That's tasty. Nobody did that. From an audio perspective, which I do kind of expect from Roland, is fantastic. But Roland is also a video switcher company. They have some fantastic video switchers that are very expensive. So this is just embarrassing. Like, that is just freaking embarrassing for them. There's no reason for that stuff. But you know, when you look at like the whole suite of noise suppression, I even have noise suppressor on here. Got a low cut de-esser, which I turned off because I actually notched my own de-esser here. Compression. It's actually a really, really nice suite for audio. It's actually nicer than I expected it to be. This confuses me. The type of mic setup where you're doing your gain. I'm only putting 39 dB of gain. I'm just going to tell you, when I'm doing the video for this on Monday, I'm using an SM7B in that video, and I only have to apply about 40 dB of gain, which, let me see if you bring it down. Yeah, so, excuse me, I'm only putting 36 in right now, and you can see I'm peaking a little bit. Let's bring it up just a little bit more. 39 dB. With the SM7B, I think I have like 40 or 45 dB, which to actually properly drive an SM7B, you need about 61 to 65. So I don't know exactly where they're getting 39 dB or 45 dB. It's kind of silly as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, outside of that though, like, I mean, of course you have the effects and all that, which I don't really cool. Yeah, whatever. But like everything else, man, you even have an EQ for your game. You have like compression for your chat. This is really well thought out stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm rather impressed with the audio portion. The video is just a freaking embarrassment, to put it mildly. So yeah, I kind of dove into tearing Roland apart there, but I don't know if Roland's bigger than Rode. I would actually, somebody in chat, see if you can look up to see what Roland is worth and see what Rode is worth as well. I'm actually kind of curious who's bigger. Outsider Jess. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking on. Bloody hell. I'm clicking on some of the chat thinking that I can actually display it here. I just want a mixer that is a mixer and isn't filled with all this computer channels crap. It's too complicated. Yeah, nowadays with streaming mixers, complicated is kind of the when you start getting into channel like isolated channels and kind of addressing channels with specific, like let's say I want Firefox to go through my game channel or my or system or whatever. You're going to get some of the complexities going into that, and that's, I think, kind of part of the beast. It's part of the learning process with a lot of this stuff right now. And it's tough, right? Like outside of like the Streamer X, which was kind of dirt simple. I don't even think, and this is part of my issue with this. Can I even lift this up? See, this is the Bridgecast. Can you see that? You can kind of see that here. I can't even see. It's not even a live view that I've got here. You can kind of see that. Yeah. Okay. So the second HDMI on this is actual dog shit. They shouldn't have even put a second HDMI signal on this. This with a single HDMI pared down a little bit cheaper. The sound pads or sound pads or whatever the pads are, they're actually really cool and they can do a lot. You can actually do a hell of a lot with them. Those are pretty cool. But outside of that, I mean, you guys aren't really offering much more than what the Streamer X does. And the Streamer X, I think this thing has better software mic cleanup. Like, I think this is better software setup than some of Rode's offerings with the Streamer X and how you set that stuff up. I mean, it's no shot at Rode. Rode's is awesome too, but I'm not a big fan of the compressor and this kind of stuff, because if you don't know what you're doing with compression, you're kind of lost with this compressor. Like the Rode's got the simplicity down. The EQ though, I like this. This is nice. And you can do all the detail with the Q, exactly where each one's going. So this is at 4.8, but you can move this around. Like this is a really well done EQ. I really like this setup. But instead they tried to do the second HDMI, and I feel like that's basically made this thing a joke. You're better off to go buy the Roland Bridgecast non-X without the HDMI and just get one of the like HDMI 4K whatever they are from Elgato. You're probably better off to do that, because this is the meat and potatoes you want. This is the stuff that really makes this kind of sing. So, and I'm getting way behind on the messages. I have a feeling. Yamaha is above my price range to this mixer, but if I had the cash, then definitely. Was a Roland synth that everyone hated when it came out, but now it's legendary. Yeah, you know what? Roland's good at what Roland does. That is for sure. Very slow switching. I like it, UK. It is incredibly laggy. Windows handshakes are dead fish style. Yeah. My Rode NT1 signature arrived from last week's drunken order. Sweet, buddy. Did you use one of my links in the video? I'm asking. I don't know. Yeah, it's okay if you didn't. It's okay. To my knowledge, the software for the Bridgecast is open source, so maybe someone proficient could code in more video settings. Yeah, it's not just the video settings though, and I'll save some of the video's disappointing for multiple reasons, especially for the fact that it's coming from a company like Roland. I'll save that for the video though, because with me just saying that, it means nothing, right? Like there's no, it's worse than X or it's worse than this. No, it doesn't. That doesn't help. But in the video, I can show it. So, and I would rather do that. I love Roland for a lot of reasons. This unit isn't one of them. I think Rode and Roland are either the same ballpark or bigger. Roland has a little more legacy, I believe. Roland's, well, I mean, Friedman Electronics goes back the same amount of time, so I guess technically not. Friedman is, they've probably been around for about the same time. Dylan, thanks you for your business. That's amazing, Dylan. That is an awesome response. And that's why Dylan can't be on the stream, but that's awesome. I love that. Replacing your Blue Spark. Oh, that's nice. But yes, if there's somebody doing open source stuff and able to add to this kind of stuff. Now, it's a hardware issue with that lag when you're switching between HDMI sources. That is straight up just a hardware limitation. I don't think that's something that could, if there could be, this should have been fixed by now. Like that's just an embarrassing switcher. Yeah. Anyways, I'll stop from shitting on that for a few seconds. Not a camera switcher. That's a massive camera buffer. Yeah. Hey, do you want a big black screen in the middle of all your sweet video? Roland's got you covered. I can do like commercials for them. I didn't know Rode was as old as they are. Whoa. Yeah, Rode's been around a long time. Friedman Electronics, Rode obviously coming out in the 90s. Yeah, it was the late 90s or mid 90s. But yeah, Rode's been around a long time. That basically family run business is a massive family run business now, which is so cool. Jason Bayou Gear Junkie 35. I know how to pronounce Gear Junkie 35. Great friggin' week for all you out there. How's it going, brother? I learned something new from Rodecaster Duo. King Paco, let me know. Anytime you go digital, it gets complicated. Yeah, but I'm sorry. And this is any company that's watching, okay? This is a public service announcement for any company that's watching. I'm going to do you a massive favor right now. The first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that the customer needs are being fulfilled when you release a product. So somebody sat down and went, you know what? Let's add a second HDMI input to this thing. There was a meeting. Roland had a meeting at one point with all the smartest people in Roland, all the engineers sitting around a table, talking about this great new expansion on the Bridgecast lineup, and it's going to be amazing. What do we add to it? And they're like, well, obviously HDMI. And then another person said, why don't we put a second HDMI input on it, and it's going to be fucking amazing. So that was an actual decision made at Roland. And then at some point, when they were doing the final push on this thing and they're finalizing everything, they would have gone through this and seen that. They would have been at the table in a closed session going over this thing, and they would have hit this button at some point, and they would have seen that. And yet, even after seeing that, they went, you know what? It's fine. And if you ever wonder why, like I do show a little bit of emotion when I'm reviewing stuff. And I actually just had a comment, somebody telling me I'm too angry when I do my reviews and that it's off-putting. And you know what? Like this is the kind of emotion that you have when I bought this Roland Bridgecast X with my own money. Actually, technically, this came from the money from all the people, from all the members on the channel. This was bought with membership money, which technically came out of my pocket. So, and you're buying this after a bunch of rich people that have never used something like this decided this was good enough for you. You should be pissed off when you buy something like this, and it works like that. So, service the customer first. So don't release something just because you think it's good enough. That's just lazy bullshit. All right, you don't even need to watch the review on Monday. There you go. I see all the comments are like, slow down. Okay, wow. Okay, 103 billion for Roland. Roland is ginormous. Damn. Oh, my dog's coming into the stream again. Yeah, okay. No, don't hit the space bar, you goof. Videotronics MX1 or Videonics MX1 switcher is faster than this Roland. Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, 90s potato quality. Dylan, I still don't have my head fully wrapped around digital. I mean, I get it, but I'm not nearly as fast on digital as I am on analog for a few situations. Yeah, fair. You're a beast on analog. I'll give you that. 100 times bigger. That is so isn't that more insulting for you? Isn't it more insulting that a company that friggin' big sat down and developed this product that is so lacking and just went, yeah, that's fine. And yet you have a company that's 100 times smaller than Roland who is actually putting and when I call it soulless, that's what I mean. There's no soul in this. Nobody sat with this and actually performed with it and went, yeah, that works great. That's a streaming device you can be proud of. And when you search online, man, there's a lot of people looking for fixes on this thing. So should be relatively telling. Cannot find any value estimates, but according to Wikipedia, Roland made about 681 million euros in 2022. So they made 739 million USD or slightly over $1 billion Canadian dollars. Damn. That's impressive. Those meetings result in the worst choices. Just today, someone suggests that people want to be automatically signed up front for spam when they check out. Yeah, that's great. There's actual laws against that. I know in Canada they have laws against spam laws. That they actually have to have you sign a digital document to start. And I've had on a few occasions. One was a real estate agent where he got my email because one of my friends kind of hooked us up and he needed some help with doing his YouTube and blah, blah, blah. And he just started spamming me like real estate listings. And so I messaged him and I was like, you need to remove me. And he's like, no, it's fine. It's not that often. I said, no, you need to remove me. And then all of a sudden I got like 30 emails before I even woke up one morning. And so I messaged him. I said, I'm responding to this and it's about $150,000 fine for each email that you send. And that dried up real quick. And I know in Canada you can report them. I'm not exactly sure about the US though. Switching lag is an absolute no-go for me. Yeah, I can't imagine why. Like if you're just using one US or HDMI input, it's fine. Like this is fine. The video quality, I'll leave that up to you and I'll let you decide on that before Monday. The same thing happens with electronic drums. Smaller companies have been awesome and creative. Yeah, and you know what? I think like when you see companies, smaller companies, it's usually because they're still using the product. They're still kind of, in the trenches. They know what the workflow should be. They know what what everybody's wanting on these products before they release them. And then you get bigger and it starts to be, the choices are controlled by, large boards who have only interest in the returns on product, right? So, and that's where you start to see that disconnect with larger companies is why are you releasing a product? The people that sit on the board are releasing it because it makes them money. And a good product, well, even then though, you should still be aiming for a product that's good. I mean, you're making money off of it, right? And you see that a lot of times and I don't know, man. I've had experience with a lot of companies and a lot of companies have been really disappointing, but then there's a lot of other companies that have not been disappointing and they've been working really hard for your money and doing the kinds of things that companies should do for your money because it's not an emotional transaction when you buy a product. There's no for some people, there's a love for companies, but the companies don't love you back. Make them work for your money. And Roland, yeah, those bigwigs at Roland, they made some decisions here. That is for sure. Just tuned in. What's the issue with the device? Shadowne, I will have the full review on Monday, or you can skip back in this. I've been doing a little bit too much bitching over the product and all that stuff, and I feel like I'm kind of underserving the audience if I'm just going to sit here and rehash all my bitching. Dick, I appreciate your candor. If you were only a cheerleader, you'd lose credibility. You're right. Companies need to listen to the end users. Yeah. Or just have people that are the users working for you. Like, no, like if one honest streamer sat down with this, like it's kind of embarrassing from just that alone. Like that should have been a red flag for somebody, that switch. Yeah, I don't know. The video quality is another thing that you'll see in the video on Monday. You're not going to see it very well here because you've got it. I mean, here I can do this. Sorry. I went to another scene and the audio wasn't set up. Sorry, guys. It's an odd flash as well when switching. Really? There's a flash in there? Let me see. I got to look at that. And switching back. Oh man, that is such bad lag, eh? Sorry about the audio, guys. I didn't set it up in the second scene, which is, yeah, I'm an idiot. More ranting, but with more detail. Yeah, you know what? And that's what I'm trying to do, Steve, is I'm trying to be as unbiased with the ranting. It gets hard when you're dealing with companies like I'll call them out. I've called them out before. Companies like Zoom. Obviously Roland's kind of falling into that category as well, where it's like, who's making the decisions on this stuff? Like Zoom has made such bad decisions over the past few years. And I'm talking about from this audio perspective. Like, I haven't worked with any of their F series, but like the H series has just been so poorly done. And they're like dying on the hill for the gain. Why are you dying on the hill for a gain knob? Just put a freaking gain knob on there. Stop telling us we don't need a gain knob just because there's 32-bit float. And then somebody actually told me that it's actually only 32-bit float, but it's within a 24-bit container. So, and I need to reach out to Dylan because I'm going to be testing those. I'll actually do a follow-up video on that. Because if that's true, if they're claiming 32-bit float, but it's only 24-bit float, kind of in a fake 32-bit float container, 24-bit float, 24-bit in a 32-bit float container. That's going to be another video for sure. But yeah, these companies are making decisions the wrong way by a long shot. Not every time. Well, Roland has the cash to make it right, so the rant is deserved there, as there's zero excuse. Yeah, you know what? So does Zoom. Zoom has lots of money. There's no issues there. Zoom has I don't know if they're as big as Roland, because Roland apparently is a beast. But then Roland also has a ton of other products, right? So that like they're not, audio interfaces are kind of out of left field for them, especially at this price point. I don't know if their video switchers have any audio inputs. Anyways, yeah, like they've had the Roland everybody brought it up when the Streamer X was released. It was the Roland audio and video, the Streamer X. Anyways, yeah, this is a little disappointing. I will say though, the Roland Bridgecast, the just audio interface, is probably pretty sweet. I might actually go and pick one of those up, just because it's yeah. Anyhow, that's my positive outlook on the Roland Bridgecast X. And I would say if this thing hit better, if this thing had a little bit more, like, you don't even need scene building with it. You could do all that. Like being able to use, that's the other thing. You can't actually allocate the second video source in OBS. It's one or the other. And something as small as that would probably be I think that would be, a game changer for this, is you could overlay. You can't even do that, which is kind of disappointing. Like I feel like they had an opportunity to claim a certain portion of the uh, of the just the amount. Wow, I just went blank. A certain portion of the market, like between the Roadcaster video and the Streamer X, there's this giant gaping hole. And Roland could have been that in between. Roland could have been the not one, not the other, kind of just right in the middle, like 2 HDMI inputs. Maybe add an extra XLR input to this for that, or whatever. I just feel like they missed a chance. They missed a great chance. And I feel like there's been a lot of companies that do that, especially when they're facing off against Rode in this kind of sphere. Anyways, yeah. I am looking over chat. Oh man, having a switcher titler with multiple SDI HDMI inputs with hardware processing, that's the dream. Yeah. SDI? That's interesting. That would be interesting. Dylan, take notes. Dylan, by the way, guys, Dylan in the chat, don't ask for free stuff. You're not getting it. But, great ideas. Bring them forward. And this is one of the great things, is if you guys have ideas for stuff, it'll work its way up. That's a great thing about having somebody like Dylan sitting in the comments, if not on video. But yeah, Dylan and I were talking today about possibility of working together with some more music. So he's going to be coming up in some videos soon, especially videos where we're not reviewing a product. Dylan can be there. So that's probably the dream. Aaron D thought I would add, I've owned Roland for 35 years and never had a single unit fail out many different audio tools. Yeah. I've owned multiple Roland products as well. I just feel like they attempted to jump into this section of the market without, they obviously did their homework of what the market wants. They just didn't deliver on what the market wants. This is actually, the Bridgecast X has been a massive request from people since the Streamer X came out. It's like that was the thing about the Streamer X. Everyone's like, oh, if it just had one more HDMI input, if it just had this little bit extra, damn, man, like they hit really close with this thing. It just feels like they made decisions based on the wrong stuff. And it feels like they made decisions based on pocketbook rather than what the actual user wants, which is, I don't know. I don't know Roland that well. I do know they're not sending me products anymore. And I'm pretty much just hammering that nail in all the way in with this one. They sent me the Boss Gigcaster. That's what I was looking for. They sent me the Gigcaster, and I don't think they expected me to be honest about it. Which, again, the Gigcaster was fine. It just felt like there was no soul in it. And for somebody that I've been a Boss fan my whole life. I've used Boss pedals in every band I've been a part of. So yeah, it hurt a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, we could release better products here. Thing is, HDMI has cable length issues. Yeah, it does. If you want small time folks to use this, SDI opens up a lot of options. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. I wonder how many people are running into that issue with HDMI and cable length for the average user of I can see with the Rodecaster video, because that does actually have some corporate use to it, right? You can use that in a church. You can use that in places where cable runs might be over 25 feet. That's interesting. That's actually an interesting point. Aaron D. Intuitive operations have never been their forte. Awesome reliability and quality, though. Yeah, and you know what? I'll give that the Bridgecast X is built beautifully. I'm a little concerned that maybe more of the money went into the actual build of the product than went into the thought process behind some of the stuff in the internals. Maybe. All the time with the church folks. Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, you got to remember from an audio video perspective, especially since COVID, the church folk have been driving it a lot. Corporate audio AV has gone through the roof since 2020. Um, and I mean, rightfully so. It should have gone through the roof years ago. Like we should have had more of this stuff, more accessibility online. And yeah, I mean, the church folk are the biggest ones. I would say they're one of the biggest converts to nice word to using more audio video and having a really good setup for it as well. That's the interesting part about church audio is usually they've got great audio. One is the churches are set up to have good have good sound. Rarely do you walk into, especially some of the older churches, and it sounds like crap. So yeah, I don't know. They tend to be at the top of the list when you're talking about that stuff. SDI cable Canyon is simpler as well. I have no idea what that word was. Houses of worship are a huge market for the high-end audio products. You guys would be shocked at the setup some of these churches have. Better than most music pubs I've been to. Yeah, I've also, like, if you ever find yourself in church and not on fire, let me know how that goes for you. Go to where the audio people go and just look. It's usually like behind a wall. They're usually center of the room at the back, and they're usually behind a half wall. Or they might even be in their own little room. And take a look at what they have in there. There's a lot of money in churches. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but there's a lot of money to be spent. And they have some very professional people setting up their gear for them and then training the 17-year-old to run the board. So, I mean, yeah, there's a ton of market for high-end audio in churches. And, you know, I mean, when you're releasing like what Rode did with the Rodecaster video, that was, of course, at the top of their list, right? 4 cameras, possibly up to 5, I think it was. Yeah, that's a perfect setup for a house of worship or whatever you want to call it. So, as someone who used to travel the world for a church, I can verify there's tons of money in churches. You used to travel the world for a church. I feel like there's a great story in there. And I think the better story is why you don't do it anymore. Do you light on fire when you step in a church? Are we one and the same? Anyways, yeah, I personally, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with this review for sure. I do now. We can talk. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll save that for Discord. Hashtag in the comments. Or no, it's in the description. Yeah, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place on this. I think this is a gorgeous setup from an audio perspective. I really do like. There's a couple things I feel like this thing could really benefit from, and I feel like Elgato and Beacon have kind of set the bar for routing, and I feel like the routing on this, it feels a little antiquated now. Like just having to go into Windows settings to route your audio to specific places. It does feel a little like when you can drag and drop with Elgato and with Beacon, it doesn't feel as good. But other than that, I mean, that's beside the fact. It's going to be an interesting video on Monday. By the way, I'm not done the video. I haven't even written the video yet. I wanted to get this video out of the way and see what the process was like. I do find it's also been finicky hooking it up to a computer and getting video out. So that's also going to be part of it. The Beacon Studio seems like the move for me. Did they ever fix the always on gate? No, and I don't believe they can. I believe that's an actual hardware issue. Or it's so deep into the code that I don't know if they can fix it. Also, there's a ton of people that like it. So, I mean, some jerk who runs a YouTube channel doesn't like it. I guess maybe they don't care. And hey, if you like running with the gate always on, that's, hey, cool. It's the one for you. Their software again though is mind-blowingly good. Like they do software really well. You know, I mean, if you're poaching people for your company to set up products like this, go to Beacon. They're based out of, I believe, Vancouver. Hey, Dimebag, how's it going, buddy? Also, I do have to ask. 10 likes on this. Thanks, guys. We're sitting a couple weeks in. I think this is going to be more of a standard concept for these live streams, where I'm going to be possibly working with a product that's come in, and we can kind of live stream and shoot the shit about it. I was planning on playing a game today, but then I got all bitchy about the product. So, and then we also had that audio issue at the beginning. But yeah, I think this is going to be the setup. What do you guys think? You guys are a fan of this setup? I've got to do something with my background. There is that. I do need to find some lighting and some pizzazz behind me. I did have the green screen, but I don't know. We'll see. DJ Play Nice, how's it going, buddy? I think I could run with the gate, but I don't like being forced to. What if I want to record raw and edit and post? Great question, Tommy. That is one of the best questions that not a lot of people were asking when it came to the Beacon. Was, well, what about your raw audio? Like, or what if it ends up just wrecking your audio and you don't really notice until people start bitching? With a poorly done gate, if you have a really loud background, what ends up happening is this kind of sonic thump when the gate closes. And when the gate closes, you just go from this really loud, sonically live sound of your voice, and then you stop and but it's nothing. And that the sound of the gate closing is probably one of the worst things in my mind for audio. I hate the sound of it. I hate hearing my voice just disappear and all the noise behind me. No room is going to, if you're not a voiceover artist, no room is going to be perfectly silent or quiet. So like being okay with the noise behind you and maybe not having a fan right beside your face that you need to brick out of your audio. I mean, come on. There's no reason you need a massive gate going on. Just live with the audio around you. Live with the room noise. Maybe find a microphone that doesn't need as much gain. Maybe that's a thing. Like the expander instead of a gate. Yeah, exactly. Like, but even expanders, generally when people set up an expander, they set it up a little too aggressively. So, salute. DJ Play Nice. Cheers, man. Saying hello to everyone in chat. So yeah, guys, let me know if this is something you guys are a fan of this style, kind of a pre product review, kind of a sourcing from the crowd to see what everybody thinks, especially with some of the features that you can go over. One thing I will actually say, I find really cool. I'm not signing up to a Roland Cloud. I've got a Roland Cloud account, but the music they have, where you can just play music, genre mix, sound effects. Do I have to sign in? Oh, bite me, guys. I guess I'll do that for the video. But they have copyright-free music on here that you can actually just pump in through your music. I do like that. I would like the ability to sign in to different music accounts. Like I've got Epidemic Sound that I use, and I could run Epidemic Sound underneath this, no problem. And I can do it in I could easily do it in a Firefox tab or something, but you know, having it go through something like this would be cool as well. Everybody just saying hi. Anyways, we got the video. It's coming out on Monday. This is the Roland Bridgecast X, or Roland Bridgecast X. I appreciate this video format and all the other videos you do. Fantastic. I don't think I've seen you at the live stream. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, the live stream is kind of just become part of the vibe of this channel. I guess it's just something I can't ignore anymore. And I can't replace Dylan, so you guys are going to have to deal with me. And one of the reasons I like having something to do, like interacting with you guys and all that stuff. Richard, where did the smart one go? Ouch. Yeah, no, and you know what? I won't even fight you there. Dylan eclipses me quite handily. Um, yeah, he's now with Mackie /Road / yeah. He's doing all the things. Dylan, if you want to kind of tell everybody what you're doing for the group there, you can in chat if you're still here. And super excited to see you streaming. Yeah, cheers, man. One of the reasons that I wanted to do some like a game in the background or something like that is I hate, as an old broadcaster, I hate the quiet, I hate the silence. And I see a lot of other streamers like Tom Buck who's able to be comfortable in that. And like when there's not much happening, not a lot of people, he's got something prepped that he's going to be talking about. And me, I'm not that good. I'm good. If I did the prep, I'd be fine, but I don't want to do the prep. I want this to be a relaxing time on Fridays. I don't want this to be work, because if it's work, I don't want to do it. So yeah, like that's why if you show up and I've got a game kind of going on in the background, that's just because when you guys aren't talking and I'm not responding to you, I got something to do and I'm not trying to fill time and I'm not stumbling over myself to do it. So, yeah, that's going to basically be the vibe of this going forward. It will be at 5:00. So we're going to be sticking with the 5:00 time. The later time I liked for doing longer streams. Like I was available. I could have done a 3-hour stream last time. I do feel though, most of the crew, most of the people that have been part of this whole experiment going forward, like, most of them want to show up at 5, right? And I've got viewers from every part. Like I've got viewers in Australia. I've got viewers in the UK. I've got a lot from the UK that actually show up every week and support. So yeah, like those are the things that that's why this is the way it is. I don't even remember where I was going. See, this is the problem with me doing this shit, man. With me just riffing, as they call it, as the kids call it. It's a fun ride, though, honestly. The unique world of audio equipment design, lots to learn and lots of really cool shit coming. I like that. Yeah, the time spot. Yeah, that's why the time is probably the best for everyone. Everyone's already built their schedule around me being here at 5, even though it was me and Dylan before. But this is the time that I'm serving the crowd that actually shows up week after week. So yeah, this is the time slot it's going to be. Whether or not they're full hour-long streams, we'll see what we can make out of it. We'll see what we can build out of this. If we can get guest hosts and stuff like that, if we can, turn this into a bit more of a circus than it already is. Yeah, I'm game for that. Agree. Great time spot. Great way to decompress on Fridays. I love this decompression on Fridays. It's stressful setting up, like especially this stream today was a gigantic pain in the ass to set up for. The Bridgecast X was causing me problems. It wasn't being recognized by OBS. There's just shit happening left, right, and center. Obviously, you saw the shit show when you guys all showed up and there's no audio. But this is also like, this hour is just like kind of like the strip the shit off. I'll keep my clothes on, don't worry. And just kind of relax into the weekend. I love this. I love this this time to just kind of hang and chat. You can do some live demo or tutorials when you have a preset agenda. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually working towards. I'm just starting a new project because I'm going to be doing courses. I've been waiting for the YouTube courses to finally launch, and it's just not coming. So I'm actually going to be putting courses out through a third-party website. And the reason I'm doing courses on it is because most people aren't going to sit through a 20 video course on using Adobe Audition as a podcast editor. Most people aren't going to sit through, like, yeah, I know there's probably a lot of people here right now that would, but those 25 views I get on the video aren't going to be enough reason to do the videos. So I'm going to be doing some courses and stuff that won't do well on the channel, but would do well for people that want to learn. And I can still make a little bit of money off of it to justify spending the time on it. I've got the Adobe Audition Masterclass, and I've also basically got a guide to how to be a podcaster, and all the things and tips and tricks that I taught at the college level of how to be a podcaster, which includes all the editing and the Adobe Audition Masterclass is going to kind of be like, it's going to be an add-on to the podcasting stuff. So, I've got a lot of that stuff coming. So yeah, like that's not a bad idea of walkthroughs. What I need is a better setup from a camera perspective. Or I can do this all from I got my little, I can't even move the camera. I got my presentation desk over there from where I shoot my videos from. If I could set that up to have like an overhead camera and all that stuff, yeah, might actually be something I consider. That's not a bad idea. We'll look into that. On a previous stream, I suggested doing a live session on changing audio settings and how it impacts the sound. Like, you're talking like EQ, compression and all that stuff. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Canvas LMS is great for courses. Yeah, I think I've got a few people. I got a few people that are like not experts on courses, but they take a lot of courses, so they know what the expectations are. And I don't take a lot of courses. I've done a couple guitar courses as I'm trying to get back into playing. But I haven't really done a lot of like, I haven't gone and like seen what I've got one course set up. It's Avid Pro Tools. Actually, I'll show it you here. It's I was telling Dylan about this today. It's 11 hours of on-demand video. It's $24.99. I'm going to look at what this is, and see how this course is done, because this is kind of like, this is a master class on using, but this is beginner to advanced Avid Pro Tools. So if this only costs me $25 and this is basically going to be what I do, well, this is probably going to be the same thing that I'm going to put out. I guess it costs $25 now. So like, this is the next course that I'm planning on doing. And I'm kind of basing how I do mine and the kind of, like, this doesn't have, I like the idea where you do the little tests at the end, because that's the kind of like shows that you absorbed the shit. Instead of just like, yeah. Where am I going back to? I'm going back here. I got to be careful what tabs I open up in front of you guys, man. You guys are going to see everything about me. Pro Tools, my op, Fruity Loops game, Tommy. Nice. I used Fruity Loops way back in the day. I used to be an old Cakewalk guy. I used to use we're talking 90s, man. My first ever computer was a Pentium 100 with a 1.3 gigabyte hard drive. And I got a crack version of Cakewalk that I used to write. I would write piano pieces on it, and I fucking love that. No, I don't have any corn. Sorry. Nothing that I know of that was open anyways. Somebody freeze frame that. Cakewalk got discontinued. I thought it was picked up by somebody. Wasn't Cakewalk picked up by a company and continued on? Because it was free, if I recall. It wasn't free way back in the day. It was a very expensive program. That's sad though. If Cakewalk's gone, that's very sad. I'm a big, like, I use Studio One, and I'm actually pretty good with Studio One. The problem is working with Dylan. I want to be able to like work with him and not have to transfer files over. Logic just is not logical for me. I've tried getting back into it. I used to use that back in when Logic was eMagic Logic, way back in the day. And like, I've used Logic a few times over the years. I don't remember it being this kind of ridiculous with, anyways. I'm just going to fall into the Pro Tools because the people that I work with the most use Pro Tools. So I'm going to teach myself this, and then I'm going to collaborate with Dylan to try to really get myself up and running on Pro Tools. So that'll be kind of fun. Timex 1000, IBM XT, IBM PS1, 386, 486, 586, SGIR 5000. Wow. I was too poor to have anything under a Pentium. Like back in the days with 486, 386s and 486s, I always wanted one. I was one of the first in Canada on the internet. But this was like dial-up time when really nobody was getting on the internet, and it was mostly chat rooms. And I still remember Firefly was like the big chat room, and Microsoft bought it and turned it into a parking lot, sadly. But yeah, it was just my Pentium 100 was the first one, and it kind of got me into I built it myself, and I started getting into building computers. Love that, man. Logic UI seems so antiquated to me, but so does Pro Tools. Pro Tools has a lot more in common with Studio One than Logic does. Studio One's actually very, very simple to use. The only thing I'm a little worried about with Pro Tools is you can't map commands, which I'm a big fan of. Like with Final Cut Pro, I map everything to Q and W for my cut sequence. So when I cut, it's like effortless throughout the whole product. So yeah, I like Logic seems a little backwards to me and a little too complicated to release. It's just a lot of bullshit I don't want to wade through. I started on a ZX81 with a 1 kilobyte of RAM, now running Threadripper 256 gigabytes of RAM and NVIDIA 4090. Nice. That's a better setup than I've got. Damn. I haven't looked at the Threadripper. I don't think they haven't released any recently. I'm going up. I actually just bought, I got it over there, Ryzen 7 5700. I haven't installed it yet, but I think I'm going to be updating to the 7000 series and 9000 series now. Whatever the new Ryzen is. And I've got a 3060 Ti. I've got to build that. I've got to move up to the 4000 series. But we had an old 8088, but we had the old 8088 when people had 386s. So my dad went out and got, like, we were dirt shit poor. And I remember he came home and he was so proud. He had the 8088, and it was for word processing that we were basically using it for. I mean, what else did you use it for? Gigantic calculator. And he was so proud, but I remember looking at it. I'm like, really? It's no color, gold and black. Yeah, I always wanted that 386. But yeah, that was my hop. I went from the 8088 to the Pentium 100. Anyways, I will not bore anyone else with my, I sense a WordPerfect user. I was a WordPerfect user. Yes, I was. Absolutely. I actually, in front of my child, so 2 days ago, I actually referred to it as WordPerfect, and I stopped myself. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I never used WordStar. But yeah, WordPerfect. That's just embarrassing shit right there. All right, guys. 6 o'clock. I'm going to go eat pizza with the family. Thank you very much for showing up. Again, I hope you guys like this. I hope this is something that you guys are cool with and you want to be a part of over the next little while, because this is what I got until I really flesh out the concept of what this live stream is going to be. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me and being a part of it. So, yeah. Cheers, guys. And we'll be back next Friday. ATR 2100X is going to be the product du jour. I'm French too. Yeah, so we'll have that ready to go next Friday. I kind of want to see if it's still relevant in 2025, considering I think the 2100X was released in 2019, but the original 2100 came out in like 2011. So that'll be a fun one. Anyways, cheers, guys. Have yourself a great night as my dog starts to whine, and we'll see you next week.